Welcome to the Reportable Business Relationship part of the new lobbying application launch. This video series is designed to help you understand the new lobbying application. In this three-part video series, we have covered how to file the 2019-2020 Lobbyist Statement of Registration, including how to file an amendment, how to file the 2019-2020 Public Corporation Statement of Registration, including how to file an amendment, and now we will be covering how to file the Reportable Business Relationship filing. At the end of each video tutorial, I will go over JCOPE's new upcoming filing ticket feature that will be available. All filings for year 2018 and prior will be submitted in our current lobbying application. Beginning on January 1st, 2019, any future filings will be submitted in our new lobbying application. If applicable, the Reportable Business Relationship can begin to be filed as of December 17, 2018. Please note, filings filed in our current application will eventually be migrated over to the new lobbying application. We do not yet have a date of when the migration will occur. The lobbying application is launching in beta, which means it is still under construction. Not all functions will be immediately available. Screen views and features are subject to change. In this video, I will explain how to file the Reportable Business Relationship filings, know what new rules apply to filing submissions, navigate through each tab on the filing, and how to respond to JCOPE filing tickets. You can log into the lobbying application through a direct link on JCOPE's website, or through the my.ny.gov website with your personal ny.gov ID. Please see our previous video series for instructions on obtaining an ny.gov ID and setting up your user profile in the lobbying application. Lobbyists who have previously completed the Ethics for Lobbyists course already have an ny.gov ID assigned to them. Once on your dashboard screen in your user profile, you will want to make sure that all the organizations you are affiliated with or submit filings for are listed under the Affiliated Organization tab. If all organizations are not listed, contact the Chief Administrative Officer of the organization that is missing to have your profile linked to that organization. If any changes need to be made to the organization profile, including changes needed to individual lobbyists previously added, you can access the organization profile by selecting View next to the organization name. Click Edit to make the changes. If there is more than one organization name listed and you would like to only see a particular organization's submitted filings in the dashboard, you can select the radio button next to the organization name to select it. You can begin a Reportable Business Relationship filing 3 different ways within the lobbying application. On the Quick Start menu, you can select Reportable Business Relationship under Other Filings. Within the organization profile, by selecting View in the Affiliated Organization tab, then select Business Relationship Form List and the new Business Relationship icon. Or within the Statement of Registration under the Business Relationships tab by selecting Yes to the question, Do you have a reportable business relationship? This was previously shown in the Lobbyist and Public Corporation Registration video tutorials. Now we are going to start the Reportable Business Relationship filing. You can select Reportable Business Relationship under Other Filings in the Quick Start menu. Under Lobbyist Public Corporation Name, you will select the Lobbyist Organization Name in the drop-down menu. If the organization name does not appear here, this means either the organization profile you are filing for has not been claimed or created, or that your name has not been added to the organization as either the Chief Administrative Officer, Delegated Administrator, or Authorized Preparer. You will then need to reach out to the organization to be given access. Please reference these 2 video tutorials on JCOPE's website understanding roles in the organization profile, and how to create or claim an organization profile for guidance. And if at that point you still need guidance, please contact a JCOPE filing specialist at 1-800-87-ETHICS. To begin, select the organization name in the drop-down menu, as we just did. In the next field below, under Year, All will appear. You are going to want to just select Start. Within the filing, you will be able to select the applicable year or years. The Reportable Business Relationship filing will now appear in your browser. At the top is a square box where the profile information of the organization appears. Please note, you can only edit organization profiles when your name is listed on an organization profile as either the Chief Administrative Officer, Delegated Administrator, or Authorized Preparer. To the right of this screen, the filing will display Reportable Business Relationships, listing the reporting period, once a year is selected, and indicate that it is a new filing. The reference number will be the individual number given to a saved filing until it is submitted. However, when you begin a filing, it will appear as 0 in that field until the filing is either saved or submitted. After the filing has been submitted, it will be given a confirmation number that will begin with BRO. If you call the help desk for assistance, the temporary reference number is used to help JCOPE find a filing that was begun but not submitted. The confirmation number will help JCOPE locate a submitted filing. If you need to make any changes to the organization profile you are filing the Reportable Business Relationship filing for, you can select the pencil icon here. The buttons to Submit, Discard, and Save will always remain at the top of the tab list in the filing. Within your Reportable Business Relationship are tabs. We will go through each tab individually to show you what information is stored in each tab. Please keep in mind that while completing each tab within the Reportable Business Relationship filing, you can continue through each tab by either selecting the tab to access or by selecting Continue on the bottom of each tab. Also, if the Reportable Business Relationship needs to be saved, you can do so by selecting the Save button located at the top of the tabs. If you accidentally start a Reportable Business Relationship filing and do not wish to complete it, you can select Discard, which is also located at the top of the tabs. If the filing has not yet been submitted, the application will always ask if you wish to save before returning to your dashboard. Please note all tabs are required to be completed in this filing. The first tab is Reporting Period. This is where you enter the reporting period year. If you need to report the same information for multiple years, please select the box next to Report for Multiple Years. Then enter the earliest year and the ending year. The Business Relationships tab. If your organization is required to disclose both an entity, a state person with requisite involvement, and a state person, you will need to complete the entity, state person with requisite involvement, and state person information on separate Reportable Business Relationship filings. I am going to display how to enter this information under this tab. To disclose a reportable business relationship with an entity, choose Relationship Type Entity in the drop-down box. To disclose a reportable business relationship with a state person, you would choose Relationship Type State Person in the drop-down box. I am going to go through the steps for both filing options. Under Relationship Type, if you are disclosing an entity, select Entity in the drop-down box. Please note that if adding a state person with requisite involvement, you will be able to do so once the entity information is entered. Once selected, a separate screen will appear asking for the following information. The name, this is the name of the entity, the business street address, city, state, zip, and country. Foreign addresses will not be accepted. the business phone, and the extension is optional. Description of business relationship. In this box, you are going to want to put a description of the business relationship between the lobbyist or client organization and the entity with which the state person has the requisite involvement. It must be disclosed here. This description must include a description of the general subject or subjects of the transactions the entity with which the state person has the requisite involvement has performed or provided, or will perform or provide to the lobbyist client organization. The compensation field is required. The type of compensation is either actual, which is paid, or anticipated, which is to be paid, and is required to be selected. The filer, lobbyist or client organization, must provide the total value of the compensation paid or to be paid to the entity with which the state person has the requisite involvement by the virtue of the business relationship for the current calendar year. It is required to answer these two questions. Was payment made to the entity in which the state person has the requisite involvement for the current calendar year? Yes or no? Were services performed or provided by the entity in which the state person has the requisite involvement for the current calendar year? Yes or no? If the termination end date is unknown, you can check the box here. It is required to list the start date, however. As already noted, the termination end date is optional. The reportable business relationship start date is the first date the relationship began or is anticipated to begin between the filer, the lobbyist or client entity, and the entity with which the state person has the requisite involvement. This date can be prior to and include any time during the current calendar year, but cannot be a start date that is more than 2 months in advance. The reportable business relationship end date, the termination date, is the last date of the relationship or the anticipated last date of the relationship. Then select Add. The entity name, compensation, and expenses, if applicable, are disclosed on the filing. If the information entered needs to be edited, you can select the pencil icon to make any necessary changes. Then select Save. Close is available in the instance there are no changes that need to be made. Every reportable business relationship with an entity requires at least one state person with the requisite involvement. Multiple state persons with the requisite involvement with a single entity may be listed as well. The below information is required for each state person with the requisite involvement listed. To disclose the state person with requisite involvement, click the green Add State Person button. Once selected, a separate screen will appear asking for the following information: the individual's last and first name, the agency or legislative body of employment is required to be entered, the contact business address, city, state, zip, and country, and the business phone number. If you need to add another, you can select Add Another. If not, select Add. The state person name and agency is disclosed on the filing. If the information entered needs to be edited, you can select the pencil icon to make any necessary changes, then select Save. Close is available in the instance there are no changes that need to be made. Now we are going to go through if you are disclosing a state person. Under Relationship Type, if you are disclosing a state person, select State Person in the drop-down. Then select Add State Person. Once selected, a separate screen will appear asking for the following information: the individual's last and first name, the agency or legislative body of employment is required, the individual's contact information, the business address, the business phone number, the description of the business relationship. A description of the business relationship between the filer, the lobbyist or client organization, and the state person must be disclosed. This description must include a description of the general subject or subjects of the transaction the state person has performed or provided, or will perform or provide to the filer, which is the lobbyist or client organization. Then the compensation amount is required. The filer, the lobbyist, or client organization must provide the total value of the compensation paid or to be paid to the state person by virtue of the business relationship for the current calendar year. Type of compensation should either be referenced as actual, which is paid, or anticipated, which means to be paid, and is required to be selected. Then you would enter expenses. This is an optional field. You would type in the expense amount. Expenses are when the filer, lobbyist, or client organization can provide the total value of the expenses incurred or to be incurred in relation to the reportable business relationship with the state person by virtue of the business relationship for the calendar year, and it is required to select if that amount is actual, which is paid, or anticipated, which means to be paid. It is required to answer these two questions as well. Was payment made to the state person for the current calendar year? Yes or no? And were services performed or provided by the state person for the current calendar year? Yes or no? If the termination end date is unknown, you can check this box. It is required to list the start date. However, as already noted, the termination end date is optional. The reportable business relationship start date is the first date the relationship began or is anticipated to begin. This date can be prior to and including any time during the current calendar year, but cannot be a start date that is more than 2 months in advance. The reportable business relationship end date is the last date of the relationship, or the anticipated last date of the relationship. Please note, a start date or an end termination date that is more than 3 years prior to the form's filing year may be entered by the filer, and the reportable business relationship form submitted. However, the filer will be notified that the start date may be incorrect and a filing ticket may be created. Then select Add. The state person name, agency, compensation amount, and expenses if applicable is disclosed on the filing. If the information entered needs to be edited, you can select the pencil icon to make any necessary changes, then select Save. Close is always available in the instance there are no changes that need to be made. As a reminder, if your organization is required to disclose both an entity with a state person with requisite involvement and a state person, you will need to complete the entity, state person with requisite involvement, and state person information on separate reportable business relationship filings. If you are unsure about the information you are disclosing or need further guidance, please contact the JCOB Attorney of the Day at 1-800-87-ETHICS. Press 2 to speak to the Attorney of the Day. The Attestation Tab. After the entire filing has been completed, you are required to attest to the information provided by selecting the checkbox. I declare under penalty of perjury that the information contained in this filing is true, correct, and complete to the best of my knowledge and belief. The filer name and the Chief Administrative Officer name will pre-populate in the fields. The filer name is the name of the individual's user profile of which the reportable business relationship filing is being submitted. The Chief Administrative Officer name is the name of the individual listed in the organization profile. The Activity tab. This is auto-generated by the application to display the history of the filing, if it has been saved at any point. Select Submit located above the tabs in the reportable business relationship filing when the filing is complete. Once submitted, the reportable business relationship filing will be viewable on your dashboard and in the organization profile. To view a saved or submitted filing For just the organization, go to the organization profile by selecting View. Then Forms. This is where you can retrieve the submitted or saved reportable business relationship form. If the filing needs to be amended, you can now amend it before the filing is approved. Multiple amendments can be filed. The application no longer stops the filing because there is currently a pending approval. To file an amendment, open the Submitted Reportable Business Relationship filing and select Amend. Congratulations! You now know how to file the Reportable Business Relationship filing in the new lobbying application. If there is an issue with your Reportable Business Relationship filing, JCOPE staff will create a filing ticket and you will receive an email notification. Please note only JCOPE staff can create a ticket. There will be a notification on your dashboard of the pending ticket, and you can resolve the issue by accessing the submitted filing and amending to correct. Thank you for watching this third video on how to file a reportable business relationship. It is important to know where to reach out for help. If you have questions regarding how to file the reportable business relationship in the new lobbying application, please contact JCOPE's Help Desk at 800-87-ETHICS. When prompted, press 1 to speak to a lobbying filing specialist, or email the Help Desk at helpdesk@jcope.ny.gov. If you have any legal questions about reporting a reportable business relationship, or any legal questions regarding the new lobbying regulations, please contact JCOPE's Attorney of the Day at 800-87-ETHICS. When prompted, press 2 to speak to the Attorney of the Day or send an email to legal@jcope.ny.gov.